通货膨胀除了疫情引起、供应链引起之外，我刚刚特别提到，它还隐含了一个叫做能源的通膨。能源的通膨是因为全球暖化部分所造成的。我们现在还要谈一个粮食的通膨。粮食的通货膨胀是什么引起的呢？也跟全球暖化有关系。根据孟加拉的记录，只要摄氏上升1度，就是全球暖化在该国上升1度，就会造成它的农业损失10%左右。那你可以想象，全世界现在很多东南地区是因为旱灾，而最近全球的大宗商品，又是跟粮食有关的，都在飙涨。这些飙涨的因素不完全是因为供应链的关系，不完全是因为肥料，不完全是因为饲料的关系，很大的原因跟全球暖化所造成的粮食短缺有关，这只会越演越烈。根据一个组织是人道主义的机构组织叫 DARA， 他们的统计，随着未来全球暖化的趋势，世界所受到的经济损失将非常的高，高达1.2兆美元。而在所有的国家里头，可能承受最大风险、首当其冲、可能经济损失最大的国家是中国。
Is set to be one of the costliest for natural disasters on record. That's according to a new report from NOAA. But here's the headline. In the first 9 months of this year, America was hit with 18 weather and climate-related disasters with a damage total of more than $1 billion each. That includes hurricanes, heat waves, wildfires, and tornadoes. In total, NOAA estimates the destruction from extreme weather has cost about $105 billion this year, compared to the 2020 full year, an estimated cost of about $100 billion.
As the number and costs of natural disasters rise, so too does the risk to the nation's infrastructure. Utilities, ports, airports, and emergency services like police, fire, and hospitals. Already, 1/4 of all critical infrastructure in the country is at risk of becoming inoperable today, according to a new report from First Street. That represents about 36,000 facilities. 23% of all road segments, or nearly 2 million miles of road, are at risk of becoming impassable.
当极端天气变得越加频繁，人类失去的远比想象的还要多。
Chicago, the gem of the Great Lakes, now being tested like never before by the unprecedented impacts of climate change. Angry storms drenching that famous skyline, more and more extreme weather pounding the Windy City like this destructive flash flooding last year. Or this record-high flooding back in 2013, snarling traffic, turning basements into swimming pools, swallowing even the earth in some places, and raising Lake Michigan to levels never imagined. Those directly in the path of these sometimes destructive waves find themselves confronting a stark realization that climate is harder to predict, and the adored shoreline in some areas is vanishing.
It's a battle.
It is a battle. That's exactly what you can call it. It is a battle. Us against Mother Nature.
气候变迁摧毁的不只是一座城、一个国度，而是整个世界。
The frequency and intensity of extreme weather events has risen sharply in recent decades. Forest fires in North America, southern Europe, and Siberia. Typhoons in Southeast Asia. Floods in Germany and China. Yes, they're expensive. Insurance companies say extreme weather events cost more than 68.5 billion euros in 2020 alone. Among the hardest hit in the last 20 years were Puerto Rico, Haiti, Myanmar, the Philippines, and Pakistan. When the damage is at its most severe in the countries with the fewest resources to cope, the consequences are devastating. And Germany? Let's take a look at the most recent example to make things clearer. The floods in the summer of 2021 destroyed infrastructure such as roads, bridges, and water treatment plants. The German Insurance Association estimates the damage in the affected areas at 7 billion euros. And that's just one catastrophe made worse and more likely by climate change. Germany also went through several years of drought that damaged huge areas of farmland and woodland. There are no final numbers, but forest owners estimated the reforestation costs to have been around 640 million euros, and the cost of removing the damaged trees to have been around 2.1 billion euros.
根据瑞士再保险公司发表的气候变化经济学研究报告显示，到2050年，由于气候变迁，全球经济或将损失 GDP 的10%。倘若人类继续认知、听之，让气温上升3.2度 C， 到本世纪中叶，全球经济损失恐上升至 GDP 的18%。
With the Paris Climate Agreement, world leaders promised to keep the average global temperature rise well below 2 degrees Celsius and will strive for 1.5 degrees Celsius compared to pre-industrial revolution levels. Every degree of warming makes the planet less hospitable to humans. If the world warms 1.5 degrees Celsius, then disasters like heat waves, water shortages, and crop failures hit much harder and more often. Let's have a look at these scenarios by the UN. Remember the 68.5 billion euros of insurance costs because of extreme weather events from last chapter? That was from 2020, and it's only getting worse. A lot worse. There are no definite numbers yet, but scientists and experts agree action is necessary.
The most expensive, the most harmful thing we can do right now is to just stick with business as usual and the status quo. Investing upfront is always better than picking up the pieces afterwards.
Cletus says we need buildings and mass transit to withstand storms and floods, create more green spaces to lower temperatures in our concrete-laden cities, and transition to clean, renewable energy.
We talked about huge sums of money in this video. Economic damage to goods, to buildings, to infrastructure. But all this doesn't matter in the face of some costs that are hard to put a price tag on. Humans are already dying as a consequence of climate change. According to the World Health Organization, climate change is already responsible for 150,000 deaths around the world every year. And that figure is rising. The air pollution from burning fossil fuels kills millions each year. 8.7 million to be precise. That's the latest estimate from 2018. And not only humans are dying, plant and animal species are becoming extinct at an alarming rate. Protecting the climate will remain one of the greatest challenges over the coming years. And it will be expensive. But in the long run, investing more in advance may mean spending less to repair the damage later.
谢谢收看今天的《文茜世界之报》，《文茜世界财经之报》，我们下礼拜见。祝所有的人在 Omicron 在已经登陆台湾的情况里头，你一定要小心，了解要戴新的口罩，保持至少2公尺左右的社交距离。祝所有的人平安，感谢。